Imagine this, you're sitting in a cozy, dimly lit restaurant, the kind where the clink of silverware and murmurs of conversation blend into a comforting hum. But at one table, there's a man, a sharply dressed stranger with an air of quiet wealth, who orders in halting English, his words lost in translation. The waitress nods politely, but her confusion is palpable. No one understands him. That is, until a little girl, no more than 10, peeks out from the kitchen door and speaks in flawless Japanese, unlocking a story that will change everyone's lives forever. If that hooked you, stick around, this tale of unexpected connections and hidden hearts is just getting started. And hey, if it moves you, smash that like button and subscribe for more stories that remind us of the magic in everyday moments. Let's dive in. In the heart of Willow Creek, a sleepy town nestled in the rolling hills of rural Oregon, life moved at a predictable pace. The locals knew each other's stories like the back of their hands: births, weddings, heartbreaks, all shared over coffee at the diner or whispers at the grocery store. But on that crisp autumn evening in 2024, an outsider arrived, shattering the routine in ways no one could have foreseen. Hiroshi Tanaka, a 65-year-old Japanese millionaire, had flown halfway across the world on a whim. Or so it seemed. Dressed in a tailored suit that screamed Tokyo boardrooms, he stepped into Maria's diner, the only place open after 8 p.m. The bell above the door jingled softly, drawing curious glances from the handful of patrons nursing their late dinners. Hiroshi's life back in Japan was a tapestry of success woven with threads of solitude. He had built an empire in tech, pioneering software that revolutionized supply chains for global corporations. Billions in the bank, awards on his shelves, but his home echoed with emptiness. His wife, Akiko, had passed away 5 years earlier from a sudden illness, leaving him to raise their only son alone. But that son, Kenji, had grown distant, chasing his own dreams in America, only to vanish without a trace 2 years ago. Hiroshi's search had led him here, to Willow Creek, where a faint lead suggested Kenji might have passed through. Exhausted from the journey, Hiroshi craved nothing more than a simple meal and a moment of peace. Yet, as he sat at the corner booth, menu in hand, the language barrier loomed like an invisible wall. Enter Elena Ramirez, the waitress on shift that night. A single mother in her mid-30s, Elena had lived in Willow Creek her whole life. She worked double shifts at the diner to make ends meet, her dreams of becoming a teacher sidelined by the realities of raising her daughter, Sophia, alone after her husband left them years ago. Elena was warm-hearted, with a smile that could light up the room, but tonight, her patience was tested. Hiroshi pointed at the menu, trying to explain his order in broken English: fish, no, soup, hot. Elena furrowed her brow, repeating back what she thought he meant. You want the clam chowder? Or the salmon? Misunderstandings piled up, frustration etching lines on both their faces. The other diners watched subtly, whispering among themselves. Poor guy, must be lost, one said. Why doesn't he just use his phone translator, another muttered. But Hiroshi's phone was dead, and his pride kept him from making a scene. As the awkward exchange dragged on, Sofia Ramirez burst into the dining area from the back kitchen, her pigtails bouncing and her school backpack slung over one shoulder. At 10 years old, Sophia was a bundle of curiosity and energy, the kind of kid who devoured books and anime marathons on weekends. Her mother had enrolled her in an online Japanese language course 2 years ago, sparked by Sophia's obsession with Studio Ghibli films like Spirited Away and My Neighbor Totoro. What started as a hobby had blossomed into fluency. Sophia practiced daily, chatting with online friends in Tokyo and even translating manga for fun. "Mama, I'm hungry. Can I have fries?" she called out, oblivious to the tension. But then she noticed the man at the booth, his eyes weary and kind. Something in his posture, hunched shoulders, a faint smile, drew her in. Without hesitation, she approached and, in perfect Japanese, asked, "Ojizen, nani o tabitai desu ka?" "Grandpa, what would you like to eat?" The room fell silent. Hiroshi's head snapped up, his eyes widening in disbelief. For the first time that evening, someone understood him, not just his words, but the loneliness beneath them. He responded in Japanese, his voice cracking with emotion, "Arigato, Kodomo. Watashi wa, suppu ga hashii." Thank you, child. I want soup. Sophia beamed, translating for her mother. He wants the hot vegetable soup, no meat, and some tea. Elena's jaw dropped, but she quickly recovered, rushing to the kitchen with a grateful nod. As the diners buzzed with surprise, Hiroshi invited Sophia to sit with him. "Anata wa doko de Nihongo o mananda no?" Where did you learn Japanese? He asked. Sophia chattered away about her anime heroes and online lessons, her enthusiasm bridging the gap between cultures in an instant. What began as a simple translation evolved into something profound. Over the next hour, as Hiroshi sipped his soup and Sophia munched on fries, he opened up. In halting but heartfelt Japanese, he shared his story, the rise to wealth, the loss of his wife, and the aching void left by his missing son. Sophia listened intently, her young eyes filling with empathy. She translated snippets for her mother, who hovered nearby, wiping tables but hanging on every word. Elena, too, felt a pull, her own life mirrored Hiroshi's in quiet ways. Abandoned by her husband, she had poured everything into Sophia, fearing the day her daughter might drift away. "It's hard being alone," Elena confided through Sophia's translations. "But kids, they keep us going." Hiroshi nodded, tears glistening. For the first time in years, he felt seen. But the evening's revelations were just the beginning. As Hiroshi described Kenji, tall, with a scar on his left hand from a childhood accident, Sophia's eyes lit up. "Mama, that sounds like Mr. Ken from the auto shop." Elena froze. Ken Thompson, the quiet mechanic who had moved to town 2 years ago, kept to himself and rarely spoke of his past. He had a faint accent, a scar on his hand, and an air of mystery. Could it be? The challenge loomed. Hiroshi yearned to reconnect, but what if Kenji, now going by Ken, wanted nothing to do with his old life? The emotional stakes were high. Sophia, with her innocent determination, insisted they investigate. "We have to help him find his son," she declared. The next day, emboldened by the connection, Elena and Sophia took Hiroshi to the auto shop on the outskirts of town. The air was thick with the scent of oil and metal as they approached Ken, who was elbow-deep in an engine. Hiroshi's heart pounded. This man looked so much like his boy, aged by time and hardship. Through Sophia's translations, Hiroshi introduced himself. "Kenji, watashi wa otusan desu." "Kenji. I am your father." Ken froze, tools clattering to the ground. The reunion was raw, years of unspoken pain surfaced. Ken had fled Japan after a fallout with his father, blaming Hiroshi for prioritizing work over family after his mother's death. He had changed his name, started anew in America, burying the past. "You were never there," Ken said in accented English, tears streaming. Hiroshi, voice trembling, admitted his regrets. "Gomenasai. I was lost without your mother. I failed you." The challenge deepened as old wounds reopened. Ken resisted at first, storming off, leaving Hiroshi devastated. Elena, drawing from her own experiences of abandonment, stepped in. She shared her story with Ken over coffee later that afternoon, Sophia translating when needed. "I know what it's like to feel left behind," she said. "But holding on to anger, it only hurts more. Your dad came all this way. Give him a chance." Sophia, with her child's wisdom, added, "Families are like anime stories, there's always a redemption arc." Slowly, Ken softened. That evening, father and son sat in the diner, talking late into the night. Hiroshi apologized profusely, sharing letters he had written but never sent. Ken opened up about his struggles in America, loneliness, failed relationships, the pull of his roots. Resolution came in waves, forgiveness wasn't instant, but it began with a hug, tears mingling. As days turned to weeks, Hiroshi extended his stay. He invested in the town, funding a community center where Sophia could teach Japanese classes to kids, bridging cultures. Elena found renewed purpose, enrolling in night classes to pursue her teaching dream, with Hiroshi's quiet support. Ken and his father rebuilt their bond, one shared meal at a time. Sophia, the unlikely hero, blossomed, her confidence soaring. The story spread through Willow Creek, inspiring neighbors to reach out across divides, language, culture, heartache. But the true magic unfolded in the quiet moments. One night, back at the diner, Hiroshi raised a toast, to unexpected voices that heal old wounds. Sophia translated with a grin, and the room erupted in applause. Elena watched, heart full, realizing that sometimes, the smallest acts, like a child speaking a foreign tongue, can mend the deepest rifts. And there you have it, folks, a tale that reminds us, in a world full of barriers, a single connection can change everything. Never underestimate the power of understanding, kindness, and second chances. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, subscribe to the channel for more inspiring narratives, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. What's your takeaway? Share in the comments below. I'd love to hear how this resonated with you. Until next time, keep seeking those hidden bridges in your own life.